Okay, cool. Thank you for doing this, man.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
my pleasure.
Let me fix this because the mics are never perfect, but they're now. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. Thank you.
good to have you here. First of all, you and I have known each other a little bit now.
A little bit.
Yeah, in and out of
Yes.
different scenarios. But
Mhm.
where did we meet? We met at the. Wasn't it the Julefrokost thing from our partners?
Yeah, I
From
think
my wife and-
it was probably the Julefrokost
Yeah.
where they made funny pictures and all that kind of, yeah.
We should talk about because I think Julefrokost or the Christmas party is a very Danish thing, right? Where the
Oh yeah.
And I'm part of also what I'm trying to do with this little show here is also to sort of introduce people to sort of the Scandinavian Danish culture a little bit. So, have you been to a lot of Julefrokostes, and what is the typical sort of?
You know, an answer would be I don't know because the tradition is that we drink a lot of schnapps at Julefrokost. So you and people are getting very, very drunk at Julefrokost.
Okay.
So people probably don't remember very much, and some people don't remember at all if they went to the Julefrokost.
Yeah.
But I have been to a lot of Julefrokost. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a traditional kind of guy. So
That's awesome. Yeah. So, introduce people to who don't know you on the show, which is like very few people already, so it's fine. Give me your background, Peter. Because I think I know you as a writer, a journalist, but you're also doing you have a lot of hats. So let's get into it.
I do have a lot of hats. Yeah. Do you want the whole story?
Let's go. We have all the time in the world. There's no bow can't.
In 19. Well, actually, in 1996, I was accepted for drama school.
Okay.
In Denmark, we have 3 schools that are National School of Drama, and they are located in Copenhagen, in Odense, and in Aarhus. And I was accepted in Odense, and I went there for 4 years. They accept 8 people every year on every school. So, and there are 1,000 applicants every year. So it's very difficult to get in.
So 1,000 applicants and 8 get in.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's harder than Harvard.
Yeah.
I mean, we have in India we have a joke because we have an institution called the IIT, Indian Institute of Technology, and IIM, Indian Institute of Management, and they're about 10 times harder than Harvard to get into.
Okay.
But this is even harder than that. So
so it's hard. Yeah.
Okay.
I was lucky. I went there for 4 years. So in 2000 I graduated from National School of Drama and was an actor.
Okay.
And I was an actor for up till now.
And what kind of has it been, different movies? What kind of roles?
I've done a lot of theater. I like the theater, but I've also done some movies and television series. Forbrydelsen, Ørnen, some of the crime series, and I've done a lot of voice work, cartoons.
Yeah, because I think I went on IMDb to just check out your credits, and because it was really funny because before this point, this podcast is a very personal project, and I think we discussed it that day on the walk in Frederiksberg. We were like, hey, I'd love to have you on because I think we can talk about tennis.
Exactly.
And then I go on and then I Google your name and I'm like, oh, this guy's been an actor for 20 years. Okay, cool. I forgot about that part.
Nobody knows.
No, nobody knows. What the fuck is going
Shit,
on?
what went wrong?
Well, we need some wine for that conversation, but it's actually it's fun because that was also very interesting for me because of course I know you as a friend, and then sort of you discover there's peels and layers and these different things. Right. So I was like, this conversation is also for me a very personal, selfish reason to get to know you better, and we happen to have this camera and we happen to record it, but the reason also is to I think the Danes need an excuse to talk So it's like you guys don't open up that easily, so you need alcohol
true.
or a camera. So
Yeah,
we'll go with
so,
we'll go with the camera.
But it's
Yeah.
just to be, I still am acting.
Yeah.
But after like 10 years as an actor, I came to the conclusion, or whatever you can call it, that I was giving roles that were great, but I also wanted to be challenged more than I was, and I found it interesting to study rhetorics at the and journalism.
Yeah, because I also see that you are like a coach or a teacher for the Copenhagen University or something. Is there something?
Yeah, I was. I mean, it was.
Or whatever.
It's part of my long history of different works. But as an actor, I was hired for the university at the psychology studies to train the coming psychologist for their the first meet of a client. And I would train them being the client, and then give them feedback on how they were communicating to the client. It was pretty interesting, but there was some cut downs at the university, financial cut downs, and this was one of the areas where they. But
I interrupted, so let's get back to what you were saying earlier.
I was doing roles that was they were interesting, they were funny, and I just wanted to challenge myself with in other ways. So I started to study rhetorics and journalism at the university, and I started to write. I always liked writing, but not in a professional way, like like real journalists
or getting paid to do it.
And then somehow I ended up at Politiken, which is the biggest newspaper in Denmark.
Maybe
newspaper.
I think that's also cool because I don't know shit about the Danish newspaper scene or the journalism scene. Yeah. I've seen the name Politiken a lot, and they've done a great job also during COVID to keep me updated on the numbers and everything. They clearly have a very good team. There's also Børsen, right?
Børsen, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's are there a couple of others, right?
Yeah,
so do you want to just like describe the top players, who they are, and?
Yeah, right. We have Berlingske.
Yeah, that's the big one, right?
There is. They also have what is called the Weekendavisen, which is a very. It's a great newspaper for. It's coming out every Friday, and they go really in depth with issues, and you're gonna have to take some time reading these pieces that they publish, because I mean they grab on culture. Not sports, but books, culture, in and outside Denmark, and all topics that are really right now.
Top of mind, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No. So,
and then
we have Politiken, which is it's a daily newspaper, which is it's read by, I don't know, 350,000 people daily, I think, and it's known for its for being a serious paper, and they have, like, I noticed that when I was at Wimbledon, for example, that I had access to some of the players because I came from Politiken, and we can get stories like some of the Ekstrabladet or BT, some of the daily newspaper that were in for the quick news. We could get other stories. They accepted an interview or that they maybe wouldn't accept for the other papers. So there is some kind of seriousness
or respect, because it's been done in a certain way for a long time.
But not that. It's just that we get a different story. Like we can go in depth about something else than
Yeah.
just what sport is about.
So,
you know,
so you started writing for Politiken when?
5-6 years ago.
And that was, would you say that was your first like journalism job, or because I mean you said you started studying rhetoric and then
Yeah.
started studying journalism, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
and then you got Politiken right away. No.
Yeah, well, it's a funny story because I you know, in life, when you really want something, and you can like feel this what do you call that, this seed or something that starts to grow in you, an idea or something. You get inspired by the idea, and then it grows, and then you have to bring it into life.
Yeah.
And
It's kind of like the muse a little bit.
Yeah.
Like sort of in some of these books, right? It's like
Yeah.
you got this idea and you're just the vehicle. You have to just do it a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to
Something
get
like
it out.
that.
You have to get it out.
You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And you tell yourself that, okay, I can just feel that this will happen someday. I don't know how long it will take before I get there, but I will get there, no matter what. And then you start, thinking, okay, how can I do this? This Politiken thing started out that I was in Australia one year, and I went to...
When you were still an actor?
I was still an actor.
You were not doing anything
No, this was on vacation.
Yeah, okay.
And I had the chance to go to Melbourne and watch Australian Open as a tourist. And I was sitting there and I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. That was my first Grand Slam tennis tournament as a spectator. And I thought, this is really cool.
But did you play tennis before that, or
just for fun?
Yeah.
Just
but you were not like a professional or a hardcore fan or anything like that.
No, I was watching Wimbledon on TV, French Open. I was and I knew about Björn Borg and John McEnroe. And I remember when I was a kid, we were watching Wimbledon when all 5 hours when we were watching Borg and McEnroe. It was, I find that's one of the memories that is just like, this was happiness. We were in a summer house. We were, the whole family, grandparents, parents. We were watching this game. It was great.
Yeah. It was Roddick Federer for me, but
was it? Yeah. All right.
When Wimbledon's Roddick Federer, but we can talk about tennis in a second.
But then, I was watching. I went to the Australian Open and I thought, this is cool. And then I thought, okay, my personal project, I want to be a spectator to all 4 Grand Slams in the right order.
So this idea just came to you when you were watching the Australian Open?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, the next one is French Open. I'll do that next year. And the next year after that, I'll do Wimbledon, and then I'll do US Open. 4 years. And the year after, I went to French Open. No problem. The third year, it was Wimbledon. It's impossible to get tickets to Wimbledon. I mean, it's impossible. I mean, if you're lucky, you're in a bowl where they...
You're in a what, sorry?
In a bowl where they draw out...
Oh, so like a lottery.
Yeah, like a lottery. And if you're lucky, you can attend the lottery to be lucky. I mean, it's just crazy. I thought, okay, how am I gonna keep up with my personal
with your
agenda
plan.
here?
Exactly.
Okay, I could go as a journalist. I thought, okay, but they don't accept any kind of journalism there. You have to be a writer for one of the great newspapers or sports magazines in the world, and Politiken was one of them. So I had a friend in Politiken that said, you go and talk to this guy. He's the editor at the sports section, and set up a meeting. I'll set up a meeting for you. So we had set up a meeting. I went there, and with the only thing in mind that, okay, I'm gonna be selling myself here in a way that he will send me to Wimbledon someday. Hopefully that next year. And I had an interview with this guy, and 15 minutes after the interview, I left the building. He texted me, all right, you're in. I'll give you 6 months at the sports section. You're going to do all kinds of stuff, and I'm going to send you to Wimbledon.
Okay.
So I started working at the Politiken for these 6 months.
So this was before you studied journalism? Or
I was
anything?
actually
Studying at the same time?
I was actually studying at the same time. I mean, the studying thing is like if it's a full-time study, but I was still doing full-time acting as well. So I was touring and doing theater shows, and at the same time I was studying. So I had to just attend the university studies, you know.
So you were acting and then studying to achieve this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you wanted to maybe was it too focused? As in, was the focus to I want to go to Wimbledon, so I have to go do this degree now, or was it that this might be beneficial for other stuff as well?
No, it was like a bonus. It was a bonus thing. It was not. It wasn't the only reason I started to study rhetoric, but it was my way in to keep up with my personal agenda.
So which year was this? When did this happen? When did the 6-month offer to write, and then?
I think it was 2014.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so you started. So you go on, but you got the 6-month offer, and then.
Yeah, and then they sent me to Wimbledon as a shared accreditation with a guy that had covered Wimbledon before. So he was doing all the results, all the games, and I was doing all the features, like
so the color commentary a little bit. If you would compare it to like someone is talking about the numbers and you're talking about the people and more the
exactly.
story behind the numbers.
And it worked out really good. And the year after, was it the year after again? I was on my own. So and what I didn't, the games I didn't cover at Wimbledon, they covered from the paper back home. But that was how it. That was how I ended up with Wimbledon. And then the year after again, I finished up at the U.S. Open. So
you did your.
I did my 4 years, and I and now I still write for Politiken and cover Grand Slams, French Open, and Wimbledon mainly. So,
okay. Yeah.
So
and now this is the most important question. Which is your favorite?
Oh, well, they all have something special. Actually, most people say Wimbledon, and I'm like most people. I think Wimbledon is.
But why Wimbledon?
There is just some magic about the whole thing. Maybe it's the grass thing. I don't know. That the surface is grass. It's just you go there, and if you like, I'm so lucky that I get there and I'm at the grounds when it's closed, and I can go in. And I can go in on center court, and I can actually touch the grass, and it's like it's just magic. I mean, and the whole story about the grounds, how they started over 100 years ago, and it grew and grew, and now, you know, and all the players, you know, which one is the most spectacular trophy? It's everybody says Wimbledon, and it is Wimbledon. It's just incredible. It's like maybe it's also because there's such a strict code.
Talk about that, because I mean I've been watching tennis also for many years as a kid, and my sisters and I. We've had similar memories of watching. I mean, mostly me, and then they wanted to watch something else, and then eventually they realized, okay, it's actually pretty fun, and then sort of, you know, I mean, also Wimbledon was always special, and you know, sort of, I think, growing up in India, tennis is big. But
you had Singh, right?
Who? What?
The Singh, the player.
Which one? What's his full name? I don't remember.
What's his name? The Indian pro.
Well, there's been a couple, right? So there's the big one. The big two have been Mahesh Bhupathi and Leander Paes. That they were the.
Bopanna.
Yeah, Bopanna. He's the recent one. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's doing well.
Yeah.
And I think that the thing with India is that our tennis player. I mean, if you go back in history, there's the most successful tennis duo has been Leander Paes and Mahesh Bhupathi, the doubles, and then Leander Paes and Martina Hingis were playing mixed doubles, and they, I think, won either Wimbledon or US or something, which was like, what? Okay, I thought you retired, Leander, and they came back and won a Grand Slam in mixed doubles with Martina Hingis, which is like really cool. But I think in the tennis in India, like it's like anywhere in the world, tennis is a rich sport. You have to have the money to buy the rackets, to go to the courts and everything. But for us, we were lucky where we grew up in a small town where there was a lot of tennis, and it was not that expensive to get access to it, and you could play, and we all played. All of us played. Me and both my sisters, we played pretty okay. We were not that great, and I remember I had one coach for a couple of years who called me fat every day.
No.
So I was like, okay, this is fun for me. Don't ruin it. And he's like, oh, come on, run, fatty, run, fatty. I was like, okay, great. I'm not coming back here again. And it's funny because like in India, that's like, yeah, it's not polite, but it's like, yeah, you know, you're pushing your whatever.
Okay.
You kind of have but for me, it kind of became, I still enjoy tennis, and I think it's a really fun sport. It's.
Do you have a two-hand backhand?
I know, single, Roger Federer. I'm a Federer guy. I mean, like, so the thing is for me, like, my two favorite players growing up were Andy Roddick and Roger Federer. So, and the thing is, it was always terrible because whenever they met, Federer would always win.
But isn't that strange that Federer is still on the scene?
He's so fucking good. Like,
I mean,
what is going on, dude? Like, I mean, he looks the same as he did like 10 years ago.
I know.
What is he? It's like this whole.
He's not human.
No, it's crazy. And also the thing is, his style is very. I mean, it's not aggressive.
No.
It's calculated. It's I mean, you kind of, I think that's why he suits grass so well.
Yeah.
It's because it's like flowy.
Yeah.
It's like ballet, right? It's like, I think some really good writer wrote a piece in the New York Times or some newspaper. I haven't read it completely, but I think it was about the gist of it was how when you watch Federer, it's like watching an opera or something. It's like, it's very flowy.
I think we did like a piece where we connected him with Picasso. You know?
Yeah,
it's like,
I mean, but it's like also I think because in the men's game, I mean, and we're getting into it, so let's get into it. Tennis now. In the men's game, there's like we've had this golden period, right? Because you have Djokovic, you have Murray. Well, Murray's not doing much these days, but Djokovic, Murray. I mean, if you talk about the last 10, 12 years, Federer, Roddick, Murray, Nadal. And then, of course, a bunch of really good players. But these four, all world class. I mean, you've always had two. Yeah. Like you had Bjork and McEnroe, or you had like Agassi and Sampras. But four?
Yeah, there are these four.
Yeah.
I mean, there are, they're in a league of their own.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just the great four.
And to have them in the same era is kind of crazy, right?
Because and I bet that, when they're all at home alone. I mean, they say that, it's great that they're all there at the same time because, I wouldn't be here if he wasn't there and the competition and all. But sometimes, I mean, if it was me, I was thinking, I would be thinking, okay, if he was not there, I would just have so much, success and I would, but they have success, of course. But, I mean, the competition is good. And they probably wouldn't be what they are without the others. I mean,
and have you interviewed any of them, or
I think all of them. Yeah,
all of them. How is that? Because I think, because you interview a lot of tennis players. So
yeah, actually, I used to sit there where you sit. Maybe I should interview you.
Not right now. maybe another episode. But how has it? What is? I mean, because I can imagine, like you said, like they're being interviewed by hundreds of journalists all throughout the year. Like, what was your thought process going into it? Like, was it a certain angle you took, or was it different because you knew some players more and some players less? And I don't know.
No, it's just. I mean, first of all, I think it's impossible not to get a little nervous when you sit in front of these guys because they know so much more about tennis probably than you do somehow. I mean, they're, so I often, because in my position and what I write from is the human nature. It's like, I know he's a tennis player. I know his results and I know all of that, but the talks often circle around, what are you going through emotionally when you're when you're number one in the world, then you're not number one in the world. How? I mean, what thoughts are going through your mind when you want to reach number one again, or something like that? So, and of course, you're very nervous when you sit in front of these guys. Of course.
Is there a memory with one player, maybe in the beginning or maybe recently, I don't know, that you were like, oh my God, I'm sitting, or you were nervous?
But that was, after a game at the Grand Slams, often these big press conference, and there's a lot of journalists there, and you got to be lucky if you want your question through. So first of all, you have to prepare your question, and then you have to quickly raise your hand because it's a limited time where you can ask questions, and if you're getting pointed at, my question, what okay, and then this is transmitted to the world,
yeah.
And it's archived after, and there is transcriptors writing what we're talking about. So actually, before you even leave the press conference room, it's printed out. So the whole world press have a copy of what you just asked and what they answered, and they can use that in every media in the world, the accredited ones. Okay, I'm gonna.
There's some pressure, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just tense, and then sometimes you just ask a question where you thought, okay, I could have asked a million questions. Why did I ask that? I think I asked Andy Murray about how it was to be playing at Wimbledon now that they just had an election about Scotland and Great Britain. I had to separate, and I thought, I think maybe that was just too much.
What was his answer? Do you remember?
He was just, He
was like, I'm exhausted, dude. I just played a 5-hour match. Yeah.
It was something like,
Yeah.
And the transcriptors was,
okay.
It wasn't going quite as I hoped. But
Andy Murray's got a special place in sort of the internet world because of this question, or in the meme world because of this. I think someone asked him a question saying that, or something about, what does it feel like to be the best player or the first player to do something? And he said, first male player. He answered saying, he corrected the question, first male player, because apparently I think Martina or Serena or someone had done it before him. Something he did. I don't know exactly what it was. Yeah. But like every feminist person in the world is like sharing that video because like, oh yeah, Andy Murray, corrected this question. I mean, I think I think it's really cool because he's, I think what you forget is most of the players are doing a press conference after a very heavy workout.
Yeah.
Like they're either finished a match or finished training or it's never like just getting off, okay, getting a cup of coffee, okay, now focus, let's talk.
Right.
It's there, and I think it's also really cool to see the kind of pressure they're under to sort of come up with these answers and have to do it, and I think there's a lot on there.
I think actually, and I have so much respect for these athletes, especially like we talk about Roger Federer, and he has the ability to actually look you in the eye and give a voluminous answer. I don't know how to say it. Like a
long answer.
Yeah, like
a well really, thought through answer.
Yeah, and well articulated answer. And I have so much respect because the thing is that if you are a reporter and you ask the athlete a question, the athlete, some of the athletes would think, press, fuck press. Can I say fuck?
Yeah, you can say fuck. Okay. Yeah, we can say fuck.
Okay, fuck. Fuck press. They don't want to deal with the press. When they say, fuck the.
We're back.
We're back.
We had the batteries in the beautiful Zoom 6 ran out, so yeah, but we figured them out, and thank you, Casper, for the batteries, and now we're back on. We were talking about
about Roger Federer and about his ability to actually give great answers to questions from the press, because I think athletes often have the idea that fuck, we don't want to deal with the press. I mean, they ask the same questions all the time. So when you actually ask a question that is stand out a bit, then an athlete like Roger Federer actually really takes his time reflecting and then come up with an answer that is really, really something special. But not all tennis players do that. I mean, but I think athletes in general maybe sometimes forget that, the journalist's job is to actually write about, the athlete. So, and if the athlete doesn't come up with anything,
you can't make it up.
How should the journalist, come up with something great, or something special, or something at all?
Yeah, I think what's interesting also, if you look at like sort of the famous athletes, because I like sport in general, so I think you have, of course, Roger Federer, who is the leading example in tennis. You have like people like LeBron James, like Michael Jordan. You compare these guys to each other, right? And then of course, in the modern era of sort of famous athletes, right? There's, of course, like in the American sports, you have Tom Brady, and like in mixed martial arts, you have Conor McGregor, these kind of guys who kind of people who don't watch tennis know Roger Federer. Like they know his name, they've heard his name. Nike's promoted him everywhere when he was with Nike, and I think it's also, I think a lot of athletes that are up and coming. I know I have some friends who are tennis players who are professional at like they're 12, 13, best in their country, and I think a lot of them. I think it's also like for an athlete, there's so much on your shoulders these days with social media as well. Because I think back in the day, maybe you would just like go play, do whatever, nobody cared. You gave a interview and you were done. Yeah. But now you have to talk about it on your Instagram, and you have these people and
you have there's a lot of people in your team.
Yeah.
Like you can't just. That's the great thing about the Grand Slams. You go straight to the source. You go straight to Caroline Wozniacki. You go straight to Roger Federer.
Well, what do you mean by that? You go straight?
No, if you're, the rest of the year, when you're not actually attending the Grand Slam tournament, if you want to talk or have a question answered by one of the athletes, you got to go through the manager, that goes through the public relation, that goes through the whole thing. There's a lot of layers, like you talked about, an onion peel. This onion
organization
is so
layers,
huge that the way to the athlete is just very, very long today.
So you don't have Roger Federer's number? I thought you had just had Caroline Wozniacki's and Roger's number.
I have some, but not his. No.
That's why you're on the show, so I can have them on next. No.
Let me see how I can. Sport. The sports world, it changed. It has changed a lot from the 80s to today. I actually talked to Mats Wilander, just saying tennis. But like Mats Wilander talked about tennis in a way like when he was a kid, and they were starting playing tennis. They were doing it just for fun, and then they found out, oh, we're good at this, and then let's just play tennis because we think it's fun. And then they became professionals. Then they became some of the best in the world. Today, the parents, they look at the kid. Okay, you have a talent for tennis. Let's do this. But mom, I don't really want. Let's do this. And then they kind of force it onto the kids, and then it becomes like a business.
Yeah.
That it's a whole different approach to the sport, and not only tennis, in all kind of sports, that today than it was back in time. It's sports is a business from very little to top pro.
Yeah, it's really funny because one of my good friends who actually was supposed to be on an episode yesterday, but because of technical miscommunication,
and then you called me, and then I replaced it.
No, but you were scheduled for today, so I had 2 days, yesterday, today, and I wanted to put in as many people as I could. So you were scheduled for today. So that's perfect. No, but it's funny about this thing about sport, because he's launching a sports league. his
Okay.
own league.
Okay.
In a niche. Or maybe he's going to be angry for me calling it niche sport, but ultimate frisbee, which is this sport that he's kind of really passionate about, and he's launching a league.
Oh, cool.
And it's really cool because I think for me it is. I think I can resonate with that a lot because maybe 20, 30 years ago, tennis or any sport, I would even say any global sport except maybe football, soccer, right? You were. It was simple. You kind of were like, okay, like you said, Mats Wilander said, like we had fun, we played, we kept going, and then you play, and then you suddenly realize, oh shit, you're one of the best in the world, and then that's fine.
Yeah.
But it was very pure and like organic and almost sort of the ethos of the Olympics, like amateur, right? It was not about, it was not corrupted by money or media or anything like that. It was about like just go do your thing. That's why I think there's a few sports these days which are kind of starting up, right? Which are ultimate frisbee, I think, is one of them, and there's a few others as well that are kind of niche sports, but they have because they're very focused on this purity aspect of like you play the sport for the community, for the sport, for getting better, and maybe there's some money in it. He was telling me something which is crazy. Professional players in ultimate frisbee, there's a league in the U.S. Guess how much they make a day? Just do if you have a guess.
Dollars?
Yeah, dollars. Just like a random guess.
A day?
Yeah, or like per match or something. Like
per
just
match.
Whatever.
$3,000.
30.
$30,000 per match?
$30.
For throwing a frisbee?
30. But it's like, and it's nothing. Like you said 3,000, and I was like, he said $30. I was like, so these people are doing it for the love of the game, and I think a lot of them have
30,000.
No, not 30,000. $30.
Oh, $30.
Like what was that? 200 krona. $30.
Okay, I get
not
it.
30,000.
Okay, $30.
$30. So
that's
whatever.
200 krona.
200 krona for a game. Like you can make more money than that doing a lot of things, right? But
you get more on A-Kassen.
What is it? What is A-Kassen again? It's security, social security, right? Yeah, social security. But I mean, to me.
No, but that's a great example because you're doing it for the love of it.
Yeah, and of course you have jobs and everything. Most athletes in history have always had other jobs. Right. Like people, I think there's George Best or something. These famous football players also had jobs, and maybe he didn't, but most of them did. Yeah. And I think that's also interesting. Where like now, I think you're right because like sports like tennis and most famous world sports, they're very professionalized. Right. And then there's like ways, and of course parents want to help their kids, but sometimes you're right, maybe it goes the wrong way, right?
Yeah, I remember one of my friends back in the 90s, I think it was. He was one of the first in our friend, how do you call
group,
it? Yeah. Friend group, yeah, that was signed with a football club. But it was like, he was giving a car or something, but he still had to work. But then he had a free car and was playing football, and I think he was paid like what was like half a salary to play football. But that made him a pro, and that was cool. But today it's just, I mean, once you get sponsors in that pay you to wear a shirt or something, it's a different game.
Yeah, and in the tennis world, like which are the players that you have sort of developed a relationship with, or have you been talking to over the years, that you're like, okay, like when you and him or her sit down, it's a very different kind of interview because they remember you or they know you. Because I think you were saying that one of the conversations we had some time back, it was just like, I think some players, they either remember you or you remember, they know you, so it's kind of like, hey, it's less of, oh, this press guy, more of, oh yeah, cool, I'm talking to Peter, like, okay.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's Caroline Wozniacki. We have some great talks in the years that I've been writing about tennis, and she's always very, very, now she stopped being an active tennis player, but I mean, actually she was the reason that you as a Danish journalist are going to Wimbledon, covering the tournament. It's because she's there. When she loses the match and is getting sent out of the tournament, you're getting sent home. Yeah. I mean,
but I think that's really important to touch on, because I think there's many people that don't realize that one player can have that impact. And I think maybe could you talk a little bit more about sort of Caroline's impact on like the Danish tennis scene?
It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's she's just one of a kind.
Yeah.
I mean, she has made such a huge impact on, I think, just tennis as a sport, but also sport in general.
Yeah.
How you look at achievements in as a Danish sportsman, woman, how you can achieve, because that's extraordinary what she's done. And I think she's like a role model for not just junior boys and girls tennis players, but also like kids that wants to go into any kind of sports and see. You know, there's some video footage from some years ago where Caroline is like 10 years old saying, "I want to be the number one in the world. That's my goal." You know, and it's just to see a girl having those dreams. It's like we talked about. If you get an idea, you wanna live them. You know it's gonna happen sometime. You don't know when.
Yeah. That's powerful. Yeah.
And just to see that it actually, she executed her dream. Can you say that, executed?
No, perfect. Yeah. Perfect English.
She lived it, and I think that's like a really great statement for future generation to see you can actually achieve these goals, and I don't see. I mean, you have Michael Laudrup, you have Eriksson in football or soccer, that
football,
that has been, you know, world soccer stars, and so of course we have that, but this is an individual achievement from Caroline on the court. Of course she has a team behind her dad, mom, different kind of coaches throughout the years. Michael, that was one of them.
Let's maybe that's a good segue, because you've written a book. It's in Danish. I'm waiting for the English version to come out at some point so I can read it.
If you know Chinese, we're working
on Mandarin?
Maybe having a translated into Chinese.
But talk to me about who is Michael and how, and you know what is
this is book. It was published 2018, actually, the late 2018. And it was actually awarded Sports Book of the Year 2019.
Congrats, that's awesome.
Right there.
Nice, very cool.
Whoa.
Awesome, very cool.
And it's about a former tennis player, Michael Mortensen. He's a Danish former player and coach. And he was coaching Caroline from when she was a little girl. I mean, Caroline's main coach was her father, Piotr Wozniacki, but he also teamed up with different coaches throughout her career, and Michael was one of them. Actually, I think he was the first coach that was attached with Caroline throughout her life on the tour. And so I met Michael at an exhibition match in Herning, where
my wife is from.
Your wife is from.
the second best city in Denmark. No.
Yeah. I think a lot of great things comes out of Herning.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I have to agree.
Yeah.
It's 100%.
So
my life changed because of a woman from Herning. So
exactly.
Yeah, for sure. No.
So actually mine did too.
Okay, yeah.
So,
cool.
Because I met Michael there. And Caroline Wozniacki was doing an exhibition match with Serena Williams there. It was a big setup.
Whoa.
And I was there to cover it for Politiken. And because I have different hats, like you said, I also had a friend that was invited for the VIP dinner the night before. And I was invited there with my friend, and we were sitting at a table, and this table was with Michael and his wife. And we came to talk. And my first thing was that I said to his wife, he reminds me of someone. Who is it? Oh, I know. It's Alec Baldwin. And I don't know. You can see this guy. I don't know.
It's a scary photo, but yeah, definitely. I think there's something.
But you know, I mean, I saw the late night show. Or
Saturday
something.
Night Live.
Saturday Night, and
SNL,
Alec Baldwin was fried. And I mean, he's such a great actor, I think.
Amazing.
I mean, he's really, really, I mean, he's really cool. He knows his stuff. I mean, nothing can, get him out of control. But he just looks exactly like Michael. They look like brothers, like twin brothers. And I said to his wife, he looks like Alec Baldwin. And she said, yeah, that's right. He looks like Alec Baldwin. And then we got to talk, and I got to know his story a bit. I said, you have a great story, Michael. He grew up playing tennis, was one of the best in the world in the doubles. He was paired up with Mats Wilander, John McEnroe. He played against John McEnroe and in the doubles, and he was just one of the best double players in the world. I said, and then the tragedy in his life was he had a daughter that was hit by a car, and she passed away from this accident. And I said, Michael, with all respect, you have a really, really great story. Not great in the sense, the tragedy is unbearable, but you have had a life so far that has been quite interesting. And the tragedy in your life and the turns it takes, I really would like to put it into words. And he talked to his family about it, and they liked the way I was writing, and they accepted that I should tell his story. So we started this project together, and this was it was a project that, like we talked about with Mats Wilander, going into tennis, you have to do it with your heart. It's not a business. It's not this is a story, we can sell a lot of books, we can, no. This is a story told from the heart, and with no rush. Do it in whatever time it takes, and then we want to tell the story right. No matter if it sells 1, 2, 5 million, whatever, doesn't matter. This is about telling a story. So it took us 3 years. We sat down like you and I would talk about topics that I found was interesting, go into depth, and then I did my writing from that, and it came out as this book. And
what does the title mean?
Grus is clay. If you want to translate it directly, it's clay. It was not his favorite surface. That was hardcore. But I mean, in that title is like there was a lot of obstacles in his life that he had to cope with, and not just clay. But in Denmark we have a saying that if your world is falling apart, it's then it's styrter I grus. It's how you say like things are falling apart, just
stuff is breaking,
becomes gravel,
becomes clay,
something else.
Yeah.
And that's the title. So
does he like the book?
Does he like the book?
Yeah,
he's very, very pleased with the book, and I'm pleased too.
That's
actually,
good.
Because it's a story that tells a lot about tennis from the 70s up to today, and everything from the ATP WTA tour, the Grand Slams, the Davis Cup, and the human challenges of being a tennis player, and the human challenges of loss. I mean, not only losing on the court, but also losing in life, because Michael became one of the most asked for coaches on the WTA tour after he was coaching Li Na, the Chinese tennis player, and he brought her to the final in French Open, and she took the championship there with Michael as a coach. So he got very asked for on the women's tour, and then shortly after Li Na was taking the title in Paris, this was in June. Then in November, this accident happened, and it turned Michael's life around. He had to, back off from the tour, from tennis, put life in perspective, and it was just a big game changer.
Yeah. I mean, we both have kids, and
Yeah.
mine is the younger one,
Yeah.
but still, like, yeah, I mean, I think I cannot imagine the loss. Like, I mean, you know him well. You spent some years writing this book.
Yeah, but you will never heal.
No.
I mean this book, of course, it's a story about tennis and life in general, like that. But it's also like I think it's been kind of a healing process for Michael and his family. Not that it's like a psychological study or anything, but just telling the story, like putting it into words, being kind of a closure thing of all the grief that him and his family's been going around carrying for so many years, from 11 till 18. It's a lot of years, and you will never heal. But the book was part of a process that's been very good for the family, I think.
No.
So,
but I mean, you touched on this when you were talking about the book. But why did you want to write it? His story.
I saw that there was a lot of, I think you think that too. If you see a person or a character that has been living life, touching base with a lot of things that most people just dream about, that one thing that makes that character interesting. And I also, with my background in film, theater, and acting, I see a story played out with a main character that goes through this world of what do you call that? Experience, or kind of oplevelser.
Experiences.
Yeah, that sometimes
or struggles, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, some of these experiences for this character are so unique and so extreme that you're just starting to see this whole thing as a movie somehow. That you build up to something extraordinary, and then you see you hit a bump on the road of life that tears it all apart. And that, to me, is interesting in another way. That has another aspect of being interesting, because the thing about, we can all relate to happiness and things in life that are going great for you, and that has an effect on you in a positive manner, and you grow from that, or you build from that. But seeing the dark side of life, where you have to grow out of tragedy and darkness, is another aspect of life that is interesting in another way, but it's very important as well. And the picture as a whole is giving you a whole story.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah, but
understand?
it sounds less like a tennis book and more like a book of life.
To me, it is.
Yeah.
But it's connecting those two. That you have a life that is so rooted in the sport that's been your life. It's your whole life, which is it's also a sport that a lot of people was following. So they were following, a great part of your life. And then, of course, it's the personal life. But there's the big difference between private and personal.
What do you mean?
No, you should. I talked to a guy once that said, "Let's be private. Let's not be private. Let's be personal." And that being personal is like, okay, I decide what I want to share with you, with the inner me, but I do still have some privacy that is mine that I'm not gonna share with you.
So this is personal, not private.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
a little bit of
it's
private.
a balance, but yeah.
I mean, can you please translate it in English so I can read it?
Yeah,
we talk about who do I have to talk to?
Now we have a connection to Hong Kong actually.
Okay.
They wanna maybe we're working on being published both in English and in Chinese.
Okay.
So, but it's a long process.
Yeah, of course, it takes long.
So,
I mean, thank you for sharing, because I think that's I've of course followed you while you were doing this book, and of course I saw it and it looked really cool. But of course, I'm now more than ever I want to read the book, because I think it's I think in today's world, especially sort of social media and I mean I know a little bit about social media. It's everything has to be like perfect, but that's not real life. And I think also, you meet a lot of people, and you sort of realize that everybody's fighting their own battle, and everybody's going through a lot of shit in life that they maybe don't want to talk about or don't want to share. But on the other side of it as well, like if somebody can make a successful life, like not money successful, just fulfillment successful, right? Part of that story, of course, is also the tragedy you go through, right? And I think what one of the things which I realized, and maybe it's because I'm getting older now, or maybe because I live in Scandinavia, and you have time to think about some deeper emotions here because of the weather. And
I thought we go to India to find deeper meaning of life.
But I think you do, and I think I think you have to change your situation to find deeper meaning of life. I believe that. Like I think you have to get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
So I think in India, like I'm Indian, I love India, and there's so much wisdom in our old books, right? But most Indians don't read them. That's the secret. Like like most Indians don't give a shit about the sort of holy books or the philosophies or
really?
Because I think most of them are on social media. Yeah. Like most of the world is looking at this phone and looking at stupid bullshit that just is being reshared from one person to the other. And Facebook and Instagram and these amazing companies have made hundreds of billions of dollars figuring out this base level human emotion to sort of get you hooked on it, right? Yeah. It's pretty much like scaling the casino, right? It's like scaling emotional casino. Like it's perfect. And India as a country, India is a big country. Like, we have 1.3 billion people, hundreds of languages, thousands of dialects, right? It's a continent, right? It's a subcontinent technically as well. So I think like our history is so deep and so wide, it almost takes people outside of India to come and talk about it. And of course, I'm generalizing because there's so many people that are doing that in India, that are philosophers and writers, and talking about it. And hopefully, I will get to talk to some of them in the future. But I think the general millennial Indian public from like 18 to 35, 36, or a bit older even, right? Like most of them don't really take the time to look at their own culture as much as they should. And I think that's partly because of sort of the globalization of the world, right? Because of course, you want to look outside, you want to see what's cool, and America does a really good job of being able to scale culture and make everything look really cool. And I think India's an English-speaking country, so of course it's a great market. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think now with social media, or with the internet, people are realizing as well that, there's a lot of crap, but there's also a lot of opportunity to learn stuff. I think for me, moving to Denmark was quite difficult. We've talked about this a little bit. I think the Danish culture is great, but also that you're not the most open people in the world, right? You have to really break through to really try to get in. And it doesn't help that, you speak a crazy language from God knows how many hundred years ago that nobody can speak. Not even your neighbors can speak well. But anyway, besides all that, I think it's been for me, it's been a journey inward a lot, sort of in the dark winters and, sort of being away from most of my friends and some family. Luckily, family's been coming quite regularly until COVID. But still, it's like, for me, I'm a very social person. So most of my life, whenever I had to deal with something real, I would just go out for a drink or hang out with somebody or go on social media. Yeah. And I think the last couple of years here, also becoming a dad is part of it, also becoming older is part of it, I think, has really told me that, like, go towards that pain, go towards that internal discomfort. Because when you go towards that discomfort, you are like, oh, okay, this is what it's really about. Like if you run from it, if you hide from it, it becomes something bigger. Right? And I think for me personally, and a lot of people that I know, we love to lie to ourselves. We love to sort of, to make ourselves feel comfortable for the short term, we love to lie. Yeah. We know the truth, but we don't want to talk about it to ourselves, you know?
Yeah. I talked to a guy that says, he's saying that he's a philosopher, and his theory is that every time you lie to yourself, you lack self-respect. And being successful within yourself in life, it's all about self-respect. So every time you lie to yourself, I mean, saying something that, you know, this is not, I mean, it's not the truth, but, you know, doesn't matter.
And I think it's also like, and that's what I've been very impressed. I mean, I've lived in Europe for 13, 14 years now, but I've been very impressed with the Danish sort of culture, or the people that I've met here. Like, I've met some pretty famous people who are successful in financially, in otherwise, whatever, successful, you know, in general, and people are just like very humble and very polite, and they don't want to, you know, talk about the other stuff. And I think I can really resonate with that, because most of my life I've had to kind of sell myself a little bit, you know, whether it's as an entrepreneur, whether it's, you know, as a for whatever, right? Sell artists, whatever I was doing, whatever, building companies, whatever. It's always been sort of the salesman role that I play, right? But I think in that process, you tend to, you know, lie a little bit, like white lies, like a little bit here and there. It's kind of like, okay, you know, it's not, you know, I'm not like, or this will take 6 months. It'll actually take a year, but you say 6 months, and you try to get the deal. And this will cost this much, but it'll, you know, and I think. This process started for me a couple of years ago. I realized that being honest does more for me than for the other person. Like, if I'm honest with myself, I'm like, you know, it does so much more for me. And I think your friend, the philosopher, is quite right. And I think there's a lot of philosophers that have written about this, of course, in different ways. But I think what's interesting for me is philosophy in a book, right, that you read is bullshit. Putting it in your life is the hard work. I think it's like, we can all read the books, right? Like we can all, like I think this morning I saw something on Twitter. Someone from the startup world said that, I read this nice quote from Henry Ford, you know, failure, or something about failure. And I was like, we can all read the fucking quote. You know, it's not about the reading the quote. It's about applying it in your life and living your life that way.
But like this guy said. He also said that 10 years ago he made a promise to himself that he would never say a bad thing about or to another person, ever. And I'm thinking, okay, it's great. I want to do that, and I've been thinking about it since I heard that. But I also I catch myself. Saying to myself, oh fuck, you know, I failed on that one already today. You know, so it's really difficult to live those rules that you set up to become a better person. But I mean, it's okay to fall through once in a while. I mean, the people that say they don't. They lie. They lie.
I think there was I read something somewhere. I think coming back to tennis full circle a little bit. I think like the difference between the top to make it to the top 100 or 200 in the ATP or in the world ranking to being in the top 10 is hitting 3% more shots. Like it's a 3 or 4% margin.
They say
something like that.
Top 100 is equally great players. The thing is continuity.
Consistency.
Consistency, continuity. Consistency. And they, the top 10 players, they urge you. They just have a higher consistency.
And I think that's the funny thing also with like the pure sports, right? Like picking up a racket and hitting a ball, it's pure.
Yeah.
Like, and I think like for me, I love mixed martial arts. I love fighting because it's extremely pure.
It's brutal pure.
Yeah, but it's like you're in your underwear with a cup, and you're going against a guy with an underwear and in his underwear,
Right.
and a cup, and then you're fighting each other, right? Like it doesn't get more primal or pure than that. And I think in that, if you are a fan of the sport like tennis, you see beauty. You see that a forehand, a backhand, and a serve and a volley, like that's all tennis is. Like there's not. I mean, maybe there's a few more things Michael can teach me, but besides that, like it's about the consistency. It's about hitting the shots. And I think it's funny because this is also the difference in the social media age about looking at stuff and doing it.
Right.
If you look at Roger Federer play, it's like, oh, I can hit that.
Yeah.
Get on a court and try to hit like 10 shots with a 12-year-old who wants to be a pro. And you can be as fit, as strong as you like, as running. He or she will kick your ass every day. And I mean, there's a club in Bangalore called the Bangalore Club, which has like a lot of tennis courts. And I remember at one point, I think I was 17 or something, or 16, 17. I've been playing for 8-9 years quite regularly. And I said, okay, I'm good now. Yeah, I could hit I had a really good serve, really good forehand, like okay backhand. I was like, okay, great, I could do this. And I'm 18, and training a lot, working out really a lot, and feeling very strong and fit, playing for 3-4 hours, 3-4 days a week. I go up against this kid. He's like 12, skinny, right? Like hasn't warmed up.
And the fat guy.
Yeah, the fat guy against the kid. I'm a fat guy, exactly.
Oh, shit.
And then I go up against this little kid who just is a different level. Yeah. Like not, I mean, he's not even. I don't even know who he is. Like he's not a professional. I don't know. I don't follow him. Like he's not on any of the rankings. He, like, did not give me a shot, and I was sweating like crazy, and he barely moved. And to me, it's like, okay.
Damn you, kid.
No, but it's like, but that's the thing to me. It's like there's levels in this, in everything, right? I think I'm talking about also Caroline. I think I can imagine that like people like her, of course you have something special, as a kid. And then coaches like her father and Michael and other coaches she had probably nurtured that, but you have to have something, a little bit in the beginning, right?
Yeah, I mean. I just did a Carlsberg commercial with Mads Mikkelsen where I should play tennis with the guy. And I thought, they said, oh, Peter, you serve. And I thought, yeah, sure. Try to make a great serve, But the thing is, like, there's a camera all the way up in your face and you try to serve and there's crew and there's all kind of shit around you and, oh, you serve right there. Sure, no problem. I mean, my skills are not like, okay, I want to hit that spot right there, and then I do it. Yeah. It was pressure's on, but we did it. Anyway,
talking about that's a good segue. But go on.
No. Let's hear. What were you saying?
Yeah, I want to talk more about the commercial work then.
But
finish your story first.
No, it's fine. But you said something about tennis. The
levels of
the levels.
I was talking about how good. So my point to tennis was that I think the full circle point was I think in life.
Oh right, now I know. Yeah, because figuring out very early in life what your talent is. Like I was in my active sports career, I was actually a swimmer. And when I was 11 or something, you go to school, then the school go to the pool, and then there was like a swimming coach that spotted me and he said, "You have a talent for swimming." I said, "Yeah, sure, whatever." No, I mean, you're really good. You want to start in the club? Yeah, sure. And I started swimming in the local club, and actually, then they found out that I had a really nice talent for swimming, and they nurtured that, and obviously it shows out that I had a great technique. I mean, it wasn't something that I was thinking about, but my breaststroke was, I was very skilled. I never thought about it, but the way I just moved through the water, the way I choose from nature to go through water. It had a great technique.
Yeah.
So I became quite good in a young age, and I, made junior national team, and I swam in the U.S. and then I came to a point where my talent, this was it. I was on a team where some of my fellow swimmers, they went to the Olympics and the World Cup, and I was not that. Then you have to accept that you reach a point where, okay, this is my dream in this area. This is where it ends.
Yeah.
Like everything else in life, like I acted at Shakespeare's Globe Theatre in London. It was a dream. I worked 7 years to get there. I got there, and then I thought, okay, I want to be part of the ensemble there. I want to tour the States with them. But I didn't quite make that. I mean, not that my talent wasn't there, maybe, but
commitment, time, whatever.
That was, I had to accept that my journey in this way ended there. Like my journey in swimming, it ended with junior national team. It ended there. And with Caroline, the journey never ended, and she became one of the greatest in the world. So
I think that's really important. Also, some of the things you mentioned there, because there's one thing which is, I think, I mean, I believe both things. I believe you're born with some natural talent in something, right? Like I think, and I also believe that if you want something bad enough, and you're obsessed enough about it, you can go really far, but you will have to give up most other things. And I think it's something very obvious, but most people don't realize that. I think when I was young, I was a kid, I picked up the Olympic sport discus at the athletics, and I had my school record without really ever training.
Right.
And I mean, it's like
natural.
It's like naturally if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I don't work out that much.
The fat guy.
Exactly, the fat guy.
Oh,
exactly.
shit.
Yeah. This podcast is going to get me working out for sure. Just this one show, I'm going to work out more than ever. But I think what's interesting is like, I was just like, genetics or whatever, like born with some strength and born with, a relatively long wingspan. So I came to the discus and I just threw it and I kind of beat most kids, and they were like, okay, we're training way harder, so let's train this guy a little bit. And I had an Australian coach. I went to international school, and I had a very good Australian coach who was competing in the decathlon, 10 events. And he sort of like nurtured and
I always wanted to do that.
It's so cool,
isn't it?
Like these guys,
it's like a piece of that and a piece of that. And
it's like the perfect event for someone who doesn't really want to focus.
Yeah, I know.
You want to do everything, great. But these guys, I think they're also considered like the best athletes in general, because they can jump, they can run, they can also throw. It's really difficult to sort of do all of those things at a high level. Actually, in our school, we called everybody by Mr. and their last name. So Mr. Urkila was the name of the teacher, and I think he was like a 2 meter tall.
But you're a tall Indian.
Yeah,
too.
I'm pretty tall for an Indian. Yeah, I'm pretty tall in general, but and I think so. He was quite a tall, like big man, and I remember sort of he was just like, oh yeah, come to the weight room. We'll do some training, and I'll show you some technique. And I was like, whoa, it's so sweet. And the thing is also, I think a lot of the times, as a kid, you're really sort of vulnerable and you're very open, and I think you're very welcoming to everybody. And you can also get very unlucky and have a bad teacher, have a bad coach, and maybe we missed hundreds of Roger Federers because of circumstance, born in the wrong country.
It's part of life.
That's it.
It's what do you call that? Tilfældigheder.
I don't know, but I think it's also
fate.
Fate. I think that's also part of what, like, I think some of the people that I know that are successful and are very successful in their field, they realize that, it's not all me. It's not about me. I think you said something earlier. I've read this book, The Art of War. Sorry, The War of Art. Excuse me. The War of Art, which is by Stephen Pressfield, this writer. And in that book, I haven't read a book that fast in a long time. I read it like really fast. It's also a very short book, and I think I've read it 3 times now. And everybody who's doing anything, like in the artistic realm or starting a company or doing something on their own, like this book really is a really, really good tool because it really makes you realize that it's not about you. You're you're doing it, and like I think you talked about earlier, sort of this desire to want to do this to you know, whether it's a small thing or a big thing, and then it's just about like focusing on that and every day consistently working towards that, right? And I think everything else is kind of a distraction. But anyway,
but you know, it's exactly what my next book is about.
Okay.
It's coming out this fall.
Oh, what is it? Tell me.
No, but it's about, you know, it's about that thing about when you're a kid and you have to, you know, find a thing that appeals to you. I think, you know, that this is about sports. You know, you're searching for that sport where you can go far. And, you know, the parents saying, oh, why you go this? You're very good at this. Do this. And the kid goes, yeah, it's not, you know, don't really. And then they try another sport and another sport. And it's important for the parents to say, you have to have something to focus on, otherwise you're a drifter. And you just walk around doing nothing. It's important to have focus on something. I don't care what it is, just something. And this book is about this boy that goes through all kind of sports to find a sport that where he feels comfortable and where he finds it as a fun thing to do.
Nice.
So I mean, I think, you know, it's important to notice that the kid, I mean, as a young person should do something that is fun. Like we talked about Mats Wilander, going into a sport, finding it funny to do it.
Fun, yeah.
And then grow from that. And like the parents, they should accept that you can't force them to find something interesting. Even though if they're talented in that area, no matter if it's sports or singing, things. Everybody can sing, people say. Yeah, well, no.
You haven't heard me sing.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
well, everybody can sing, but it sounds different.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
yeah.
No, but yeah, I think it's a very.
I also think we're in this sort of political correctness era of like everybody is the same. No, they're not. No. But I think we have to just be open and honest. Yes, we're all people, and yes, in that sense, we're the same, and we have equal rights, and all of that. Right. I completely agree with. But when it comes to, like, I love basketball. It's my favorite sport. Yeah. But I will never be able to compete against LeBron James or every single person in every league in the world, not even the American league, any league in Europe. These guys are not just the fact that they're taller than me or bigger than me, just the fact that they've committed their whole life to this. Right. You know, and I think that's also part of what we are losing a little bit. And I think in Europe less, because I think Europeans tend to be a bit more honest with themselves. But but
do you think it also is a question about that we are so comfortable economically and
that's a whole new podcast.
Yeah, I know, but like, you know, we don't have to struggle to achieve things like
no, but it's true.
like some people in
most of the world,
parts of the world,
but most of the world, I think most.
If you come from the ghetto in the U.S., you have to struggle. If you come from the ghetto in Denmark, you have to struggle, but it's probably just in another way that, you know. But you know,
I think there's two things, right? One thing is that you only know your situation. You only know what you experience in life. So if I think a lot of times I've met some people in my life here in Europe and other parts of traveling in the world. They're like, oh, you know, it must be so sad for a woman living in a village in India. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, she's happy with her life. She knows her life. She has a great life for her. She has kids, and you know, she has a husband, hopefully a good one, and you know, like, I mean, that's her life. Yeah. She doesn't know that she needs to have a Rolls Royce. She doesn't know that she wants. I mean, for her or him, that is their that is their life, right? And I think same thing goes with you know, people in Europe. Or yes, we are all online. Yes, we can look and read stuff. But at the end of the day, when you put your phone down and you walk out and you have a safe city, a safe government that takes care of stuff, and I think with COVID, we've also seen how certain governments that are better than others at reacting to certain, you know, with this kind of a situation. I think we're also realizing that, you know, the world, from an individual's perspective, I think it is so helpful to travel. It is so helpful to get out of your comfort zone, to see a different country, to see a different people, to talk to other people, and like just also to realize that you have it really good here. You have it really, really good here. Like you don't have that much to worry about, right? And I think like for me as well, I like to go back to India as often as I can to hit the reset button a little bit, because sometimes you do get comfortable. Like, oh yeah, you start complaining about things coming 2 minutes late. You start complaining about the water not being perfect or whatever. Whereas most of my life I grew up with the electricity going out every couple of days, hot water not being around that much, and it's like you have to, and I think that makes you tough, that makes you smart, that makes you have a hunger for doing something, but it also sometimes suppresses some of the creativity, right? It also sometimes suppresses.
No, but if you are that comfortable as you describe it there, I mean, where do you want to go from there? I mean, is it better over there, or I need to? I mean, some of the people that has achieved a lot in the world have come from places where they say, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. I gotta be somewhere else in my life, because this is unbearable to be here. I mean, I have to
elevate
my standards in life, and it goes through this way. And I think we don't have the same need to change where
it's I think maybe here it's like it has to come from inside. Like if you want to do something, your worst case scenario in most countries in Europe, or in Northern Europe at least, is that A-kasse or whatever. Like you get some money from the state, and you can live a pretty okay life, and it's fine. But I think it's a different kind of fire. It's a different kind of motivation. It's not external as much, right?
That's true.
But
I mean, I'm not saying that. Of course, we can achieve in our situation. We do. I mean, there's a lot of Danish people that has achieved in all kinds of. See Bjarne Ingels, the architect. We have Caroline. Yeah. We have people in all areas coming out from Denmark. Danish design is worldwide. Our way of building stores in around the world is we are a role model in that area. Like we have high standards, and we also, even though we are comfortable, I mean, people that want to achieve extraordinary will do that.
So when is your book coming out?
It's coming out October.
Okay. Oh, so it's soon.
Yeah.
In a couple of months.
Yeah, a couple of months.
Okay, nice. And you'll come back on again and talk about the book when
I'd love to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But hey, I think it's been almost 2 hours, so that's awesome.
Oh shit!
No, but it's perfect. No, that's also the point, which is kind of nice to get it rolling.
But you can edit.
No, there's no editing. This is all gonna be live.
Yeah,
definitely. Okay. But where can people find you? Do you have a website, or do you put something up somewhere, or some social media or something?
Yeah. I don't know. I do have
I'll just put it in the show notes. Some links that people can check out. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Peter, for your time. And I think it was a really fun chat. Let's do it again soon.
Nice to be here.
Thank you.